Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Golfer Today. I am your host, Tyler Dice, and this show is presented by Tyler Dice Golf. This is episode number 24, and we have a great show planned for y'all. Today's main topic is going to be on golf is a game of inches. As always, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and today's tip of the week is on tee shots. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in, and I'm happy that you all are taking the big step to improving your game. So, let's get started. So, main topic. If ever there was a game of inches, it would be golf. The difference between having a great round, an average round, and a terrible round of golf can literally come down to a few inches. No other sport can say that because there are an infinite number of outside interferences with the golf ball on virtually every shot. As the ball flies through the air, as it rolls and bounces along the ground, and to some extent, even on how your equipment is stored. There are all kinds of things affecting what goes on with your game. So all this can have an effect on how you play, which is pretty incredible if you think about it. Now, I don't really want to spend this episode talking about storing your clubs or your golf balls or your equipment and whatnot. I want to talk about what happens on the course. A lip in versus a lip out is typically less than an inch of break. In a lot of instances, it's really just a few millimeters. So how does something like that help you? How does that little tidbit of information, play out in your game? That's what this episode is really about. Our goal here is we want you to play your best as quickly and as easily as possible. So how does understanding that golf is a game of inches really help you play better? And the answer is just that. It's about understanding that golf is a game of inches, and that sometimes you're the bug, and that sometimes you're the windshield. Not every bounce is going to go your way. Sure, it seems that some people are just luckier than others, right? We all know that guy who always seems to get the bounce. The members bounce, as they like to call it. The key is understanding your own game and what you do best. I've watched many a golfer with an ugly swing play some really good golf. The difference between them and a golfer with a pretty swing is they know what they do and what to expect with their games. And that's the entire point. Understanding what you do on the golf course and knowing what you can't do or what you don't do well is the first step in managing your game and the course effectively. So here's an example of what I'm talking about here. Most players, when they are on the tee, they can say, I can carry this or I can't carry that. And they don't even try to carry the things that they know they can't carry. And that makes a lot of sense, right? They also know that, if the hole's a dogleg left and they can't hit a drive, it's stupid for them to try and hit a draw off the tee, right? They don't even try. They say, all right, I'm going to aim up the left side, I'm going to play my fade, and I'm just going to deal with where it goes. Okay? And that's actually pretty smart to do. That's knowing your limitations and knowing your ability and knowing what you can do on the golf course. That's not stupid. That's not necessarily a limitation. That's actually knowing your own game and playing to your strengths. However, a lot of people, when they get on the golf course, when they get onto the hole after they tee off, things like that go out the window. A lot of times I'll play golf with someone and they'll know exactly what they can do off the tee. However, they'll have a similar yardage to what they just hit their tee shot, and they'll pull out a long iron and they'll say, all right, well, I've hit this long iron, say a 3 or a 4 iron, I've hit this long iron, X number of yards before in the past. It doesn't matter that I have to hit it over, a tree and over a creek and, over a bunker and then get this massive kick to the left to get it close to the hole. That doesn't even factor in their minds for some reason. They think that because they've been able to hit this 4 iron or 3 iron a certain yardage one time, that they can just pull it out and pull off the shot like it's no big deal. And that's not playing smart golf. That's what I'm talking about here. When you go out and play, you want to use golf as a game of inches. You want to use that to your advantage. You don't want to be out there and doing stupid stuff, like trying to hit a long iron off the fairway, over a tree, over a creek, around a bunker, and get this big kick to the left to get to the hole. You don't want to play golf like that. That's silly. Okay? You need to understand what you do on the golf course. You need to understand how to play golf to your best ability. And you need to understand how to use those inches to great effect to help you play your best, and to achieve your best scores, because that's ultimately what the goal is. The goal is not to actually have the best game or the prettiest game or the most magnificent game. The goal is to shoot good scores all the time. That's what you're here for. That's what you're out there playing. You want to shoot good scores. You're not out here to do anything else but shoot good scores. And personally, it took me a long time to figure that out. Way longer than it should have. For whatever reason, I was really into the fact that I needed to have a great golf swing. And I thought that I needed to have a great golf swing. I thought that I needed to have a golf swing that was incredibly repetitive. I thought that I needed to have a golf swing that could hit all these great shots. I thought I needed to have a golf swing that could pull off all this great stuff on the golf course. I thought that with my body and my build and my body type and stuff like that, and how tall I was and how strong I was, that I needed to have a golf swing that could pull off the shots, the high long irons that Jason Day and Tiger Woods could hit, and the booming drives that Rory McIlroy could get out of his body, and the unbelievable short game that a guy like Steve Stricker had, and a guy like Brent Snedeker and a guy like Webb Simpson could just get up and down from virtually anywhere, and a person that could knock down putts no matter how far away they were and how much break they had, like Jordan Spieth. That's the game I thought I needed to have. I thought I had to have it all. And that's stupid. That's so dumb. That was such a bad way to think. I was so wrong thinking that way. But the beauty of this is that I figured it out. Eventually, I figured it out. And then I'm telling you about that right now. And so you don't have to make those same mistakes. You don't have to go through golf thinking that you need to have all those shots, that you need to have all that ability, that you need to have all that capability. You don't. You really don't. You don't. Most of us, we're not teeing it up at the Open Championship this past weekend. So I'm recording this the Monday after the Open Championship at Carnoustie. Carnoustie, as they call it. Carnoustie. Okay, we're not playing at that level. We don't need all the shots that those guys have. And let's be honest, Francesco Molinari does not have all the shots that Jason Day or Tiger Woods or Jordan Spieth has. He doesn't. He doesn't have their capability. But what he does have an incredible understanding of his own game. What he does have is a lot of knowledge about his own game. What he does have is that he knows exactly what he can get out of his game. And he knows that he can shoot 8 under over 4 rounds at Carnoustie. And he can walk away with the claret jug. And so that's what this episode's about. Okay? And so, as I've gone through a lot of golf instructors that I've tried helping with my golf swing, I didn't come across anyone that really tried helping me score better. And it took me a while to figure it out on my own. But I figured it out. And what I want to do is I want to share some of this with you guys today. That's what we're here for. I want to help you guys play better. And I want you to realize that you don't have to have a great golf swing to make it happen. And so my journey began with obviously trying to get the perfect swing and the best swing and to be able to hit all the shots. And where I ended up was almost on the opposite side of that. I ended up with, hey, what really goes into my game? What goes into my score at the courses that I play? What do I need to do to score the best at those golf courses? Do I need to have a perfect swing? Do I need to hit wedge shots close to the hole? Do I need to putt really good? Or do I need to putt average? Or do I need to putt slightly above average? What do I have to do? Do I need to have a great short game? Do I need to be great out of bunkers? Do I need to be great out of the rough? These are the questions I started asking myself. These are the questions I said, you know what, Tyler? I'm going to get the answer to these, and I'm going to figure out what's going on and what do I need to do to play my best golf. And so I looked at my entire game, and I started taking some crazy stats. And a little plug, a shameless plug, and this is a free app, is I started using the My Round Pro app from TaylorMade. Great app. Best app. It's the best golf app out there. The best. the best golf app out there. It doesn't do handicaps because that's silly and stupid. Okay, but it gets all your great stats. So all you have to do is put in the information that I ask you for every round of golf that you play, and you get great stats, the best stats, the only stats that matter. Okay, so My Round Pro by TaylorMade. Get it, it's free, download it, and use it. It's free to use, free to download. There's literally no cost to it at all. They don't sell you anything on the app. So there's not like they have some end game to sell you something with the app. Like, there's no end game. There's no ads, nothing. Like, it's literally just an app to help you play better golf. It's one of the most genuine things that anyone that works in the golf business has ever done for anyone. That's how great this app is, okay? It's the best app in the world. So from using this app and putting in all my data, I was able to figure out exactly what goes into me playing well and what goes into me not playing well at the golf courses that I typically play. Which, my home course was designed by a guy named Hale Irwin. And he did a pretty good job. It's a challenging golf course. It's a long golf course. It's 7,250 yards from the back tee since a par 71. So it's a pretty long golf course. And we have two par threes from the middle of the back tee to the middle of the green that are less than 150 yards. So 7,250 yard golf course with two par threes less than 150 yards. And we only have four par threes on the golf course. So it's a pretty long golf course, okay? And then my other golf course I play is a Tom Fazio, who, as we all know, Tom Fazio, big fairway bunkers, tries doing some optical illusions on you to try and make the fairways look more narrow than what they really are. And so it's a lot of trust in your game to play those golf courses. Okay, and so those are the kind of the two golf courses that I play most in my area. All right, so not dog tracks, good solid championship level golf courses. The one, Tom Fazio, used to hold Q School, and the other one holds a Web.com event every year. So pretty good tracks. Now, so anyways, I did a lot of number crunching. I didn't do any number crunching. I just kept all the appropriate stats that the My Round Pro app wanted me to keep. Like things like how far I had into the hole, and like how far my first putt was, and how far my second putt was, and things like that, and what clubs I hit into the green. And then the app does the rest from there. Oh, and you want to have what club you hit off the tee too. And the app does the rest from there. So it tells you like driving distance, average driving distance, your farthest drive you hit that day. What are your tendencies off the tee with each club? What are your tendencies hitting into the greens? Where are you picking up shots? Where are you losing shots? Your strokes gained stats, your strokes gained putting, your strokes gained short game, your strokes gained approach shot, your strokes gained off the tee. Keeps all those key stats. And so after doing this for roughly a year, I came up with a lot of great information. And I came to the realization that I had to do certain things to play my best golf. To score the best on the golf course. And it was a lot different than the things that I thought that I needed to do. And I thought that I had a really good grasp of the stats that were out there. But after learning my own game, I realized that certain stats that I thought were important, that I was spending a lot of time on, were really just a waste of freaking time. And stats that I was not paying as much attention to were incredibly important to my game at the courses that I play right now. Okay, so it was an eye-opening experience. So for me, in case you're wondering, the things that mattered most were making my makeable putts and hitting quality tee shots and not hitting them out of play. So my main track, the one that hosts the Web.com event, has a lot of trouble out there off the tee. And so when I play my best, I kept the ball out of that trouble off the tee. So the first hole I hit driver on, and there's no trouble off the tee, virtually no trouble, as long as you don't hit it into the fairway bunker, because the fairway bunker is terrible. But the next time I hit driver is on hole number 5. Hole number 5 has a hazard and out of bounds to the left, and it has another hazard down the right. And both of those hazards, well, the one on the right lines the fairway, so there's virtually no rough. It's like a yard or two of rough on the right. And on the left-hand side, if you hit it in the rough, you get blocked out from the left half of the green. And if you hit it a good ways up the left side of the rough, you get blocked out from most of the green. And then if you hit it out of the left rough, like a little bit left of the left rough, it'll go across the cart path into a hazard. And so you only have like 8 yards of rough to the left. Now the fairway is pretty wide, but there's nowhere to miss it. So you're either virtually hitting fairway or you are struggling to make a par on that hole. So it's a good hole. And the next hole is a par 5. 6 that you hit driver on, out of bounds to the left, hazard the entire way up the right side. And then on your second shot, the hazard cuts across and you have a hazard up the left side and you have out of bounds to the right. So another pretty tight hole. And then number 8, it's a 480-yard par 4. And there's hazard and out of bounds to your right. And there is trees and out of bounds to your left. So another really tight, it's a dog leg, it's a hard dog leg to the right. Okay. And so it's just, if you hit 3 wood, you'll have like 200 yards into the green, which is not fun. And then your approach shot has trees and weeds and junk to the right side of the green, and it falls off hard on the left, like 25 feet down. You got some bunkers, and then you have more weeds and hazard to the left. And so if you hit a miss, you could hit off the hillside on the left-hand side and lose your ball or be in a hazard. So it's a hard hole. And then on 18, I'm sorry, not 18, number 9, your tee shot has to carry a hazard and a bunker. Then you have out of bounds to your right and hazard all down the left-hand side. So there is a lot of places you can lose your golf ball on the front 9 on the holes that you hit driver. And so for me, what I found out was, again, I have to make my makeable putts, and I have to hit good tee shots that are in play. Okay? And I have some leeway with where I can hit some tee shots. Like I can hit a squirrely one off 1, but I need to make sure that on 5, 6, and 8, and 9 that I hit good ones. And I have a little bit more leeway on 9 because the fairway's pretty wide. Because they give you he gives you a couple different ways to play the 18th hole. And so I have a little bit more leeway on 9. But the whole slopes are pretty good from right to left. So a tee shot that goes up the left side could end up in the hazard, depending on how your shot shape was and the bounce it takes. So you could end up landing the ball in the fairway and bouncing it into the weeds and in the hazard. So it's got some challenging shots to it. Not the most challenging in the world, but it's got some challenging shots. So for me to play my best, I need to make my makeable putts and hit my tee shots, get quality tee shots, and keep them in play. And I need to make sure my short game doesn't lose me any shots. So as long as my short game doesn't cost me anything out there, and I hit good tee shots that don't go out of play, and I make my makeable putts, I will consistently shoot anywhere from 1 to 3 under on 9 holes. Every time. If I do those couple of things, every time under par. If I make an extra putt, that puts me at 4 under. If I hit an approach shot a little bit better than I normally do, it puts me at 5 under par. But what I found out was that I didn't have to hit great approach shots from outside 150 yards for it to have much of an effect on my score. I didn't. I looked at my stats. I looked at my proximity to the hole. From 150 to 200, I am no good. And then from outside 200 to 250, I'm also not very good. From a pro baseline. And so I've looked at my scores and I've said, man, I'm terrible from like 150 to 200. Especially on like those 9 holes that I just played. And I'll have like 3 approach shots in that range. And I'll shoot 200 par. And I won't have any bogeys. And so, for me, that was pretty eye-opening because I used to spend a lot of time practicing shots from, say, 140 to 210 yards. I spent a lot of last season practicing and working on my game from those yardages. And it was literally a waste of time. And I'm kind of kicking myself for wasting my time doing it last year. And so learning the simple things, learning the small things about my game, and understanding what makes a difference in my game has really played some pretty big dividends for my performance on the golf course. And my performance on the golf course this year has been really good. And I haven't been able to play anywhere near as much as I would have liked this year. The weather's been a little iffy, and my dad's been sick, and our little one, my little daughter, is almost 2 years old now. She gets to be 2 years old here in a week. 8 days. She's 2 years old. And we've been doing that, and we've just been busy with the TDG side of things. And so I haven't been able to play as much as I would have liked. And there's been some other stuff too, but anyways, I haven't been able to play as much as I liked. But my game's been as sharp as it's ever been. It's because even though I'm not able to get to the golf course as much to practice, I'm able to practice the right things. And so even though I'm not able to, say, practice for 2 or 3 hours, a day for 4 days a week, I'm able to get 30 minutes of good practice in here and there. Like in the building, I'll be able to putt for 20 minutes in a day in a building. And those 20 minutes of putting the putts that matter has been huge for me. It's been really big in helping me score better. So anyways, knowing the little things, knowing the little inches of golf, little inches of nuggets, little nuggets of information can really, really, really help your game. And so, getting back to my what I've written down here, the point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of players think that they are a lip out here or a bounce there from playing their quote-unquote average round of golf. But if you understood your game a little bit better, those lip outs and bounces are keeping you from playing a great round of golf, which is what I'm talking about here. I know that when I go out and play, I'm probably going to lip out 1 or 2 putts. And that's okay. I'll still shoot 1 or 2 under. But when those 2 putts go in, I'll shoot 3 or 4 under. And 3 or 4 under on the front 9 is pretty good. And that's the goal here. The end game is to make sure that you play to your average ability almost every time. And then some days, you have a few putts go in and a good bounce, and bam! You just shot the best round of your group by a long shot. Now, like I said, I'm recording this podcast the Monday after the British Open. And if you watched it or followed it, you noticed how bunched up the leaderboard was all week, and especially on Sunday. 16 guys were within 5 shots of the lead when that was all said and done. All of those players had a chance to win with their play on Sunday. It's crazy, right? It literally was a few inches in a bounce that kept a lot of them, most of them, almost all of them, from hoisting that claret jug on Sunday. And that's how fine of line golf is. Tiger probably felt like he left 10 shots out there when he signed his scorecard on Sunday, and he's not wrong. So is there anything you can do to try and make sure the lip outs turn into lip ins and the bad bounces turn into good bounces? So there's some simple things you can do, and here you go. Simple things like knowing an uphill putt breaks less than a flat or a downhill putt is a great place to start. I can't tell you how many people don't know that. An uphill putt, because it's slower, will break less. Keeping your chip shots below the hole can be really beneficial to hitting really good chip shots and giving yourself a very easy putt on the next one. So keep your chip shots below the hole. Working the ball against the wind to try and have it fly straighter can be really helpful in minimizing bad bounces on errant shots. You notice this if you watched golf at all this weekend, especially on Sunday. It was blowing 30 miles an hour. And you saw a lot of guys, some of the guys, try and work the ball into the wind a little bit. You don't see this as often as you used to because the golf ball's different now. But you used to see a lot of guys almost always try and work the ball into the wind to try and hit it straighter. So that if the ball, for whatever reason, still got blown off the planet, it would still take a straighter bounce versus trying to, if you fade the ball and play the fade and whatnot. So working the ball against the wind's another good way to help fine-tune some things. But that's hard to do nowadays, and that's why I put it last. Next to last. And the last part is to make sure you're on the safest side of greens and holes so you eliminate big numbers. If there's a creek to the left, hit it out to the right. If there's a creek to the right, hit it over to the left. Play the numbers. Play the percentages. I don't know how many times we saw this past weekend of guys trying to go for the green or go for the pin and just got hammered with where the golf ball ended up. And that's how it goes. That's what these links golf courses do. They tell you, hey, this is where you have to hit the ball. If you don't hit it there, beware the consequences. You know exactly what the ball's going to do if you don't hit it where you need to hit it out there. There's no quote-unquote bad bounces out there. You know the ball's going to bounce somewhere, and you know where the good places are to hit the ball. And so if you don't hit the ball in those good places, you're taking a chance at a really bad bounce. Okay? And so that's the key. And so doing these simple things is a great place to start. Sure, it might not give you the instant best round of your life, but the next time you tee off, and over the course of a year, you will notice more consistent scores, a lower handicap, and a much more enjoyable experience on the golf course, and a sharper focus while you're out there also. So, that's all I got for the main topic. Let's move on to the tip of the week. Alright, so this week's tip of the week is on tee shots. Contrary to a lot of popular thought, a good tee shot isn't one that is hit as far as you can down the middle of the fairway. Okay? That's not the goal of a tee shot. The goal of a tee shot is actually is the one that gives you the best chance to get the next shot as close to the hole as possible. That's the goal of a tee shot, to set you up for the next shot. So trying to hit the best possible tee shot is not the goal. Putting yourself in the best possible spot for you to make the best possible score is. It's not always about hitting fairways. That is a big misunderstanding a lot of people struggle with. It's not about hitting fairways. So, let's move on to what I'm working on. So currently, I'm working on my putting and hitting some more precise tee shots. As I stated earlier, I've been spending a lot of time studying golf statistics in general and on my own golf stats. I've discovered what areas of my game help me shoot my best scores. And so for me, that's, like I said earlier, making makeable putts and hitting quality tee shots. Those two stats are what have the biggest impact on my score. And so that's what I'm working on. Simple stuff. And so that's all I got for you this week. Remember, you can connect with me via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and email. And if you want to learn more about how Tyler Dice Golf can help you to your best scores, contact me via email or on social media, and we can get the ball rolling. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon, and keep grinding.